Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. I'm starting off with this picture that was placed on Twitter by Connie2835. Yes, this has nothing to do with the royal family. Yes, this is one of the funniest pictures I've ever seen. Beware of the falling deer, because that's where the leopards put their half-eaten meat. But notice there's no warning about the leopards. Like, whoa. All right. Once again, lots to cover. Let's jump in, shall we? Let's go. All right, to start off with Sophie and Edward, I showed you these two pictures yesterday. They were at the Grand Cayman Agricultural Show, but of course, more pictures came out. It was the 54th annual agricultural show that the Countess of Wessex officially opened. She got to meet the community, local farmers, see livestock, displays, stalls. These are the kinds of shows that I like to go to. Always so much to see and do. Now, I also showed you this yesterday where Sophie was playing dodgeball with the kids at the school. I also showed you some photos of her standing with the children, looking all pretty with, the boards and everything. But what we didn't get to discuss was what she was wearing. Once again, she's got fabulous style. The dress was 1,350 pounds, and she looked gorgeous in it. All right, moving on with their tour, Edward and Sophie arrived at the Royal Turks and Caicos. They were greeted by contingency of the police force, the TCI regiment, cadets. Edward was given the royal salute to welcome them to the island. He was greeted by Governor Nigel Dockin. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And the way this is running, I'm sure that I will get the information about this gorgeous outfit that Sophie is wearing tomorrow or the day after. It's very frustrating. They're really not covering their tour like they do the other royals, and it's very hard to get the information. But I wish they would. Later on in the evening, the Earl and Countess of Wessex attended a reception at the governor's house in the Turks and Caicos. Now, I love Sophie's dress, but I also love the lady on the right, that blue dress she's wearing. Absolutely phenomenal. They look like they were having a really good time. Now, some other photos popped up before they left for the Turks and Caicos. I believe this was Sophie. She went to that women's finance group. She looked lovely in pink, and of course, the information came out about what she was wearing. Love it. Also, while Sophie was on the Cayman Islands, she went to the Women in Finance dinner and looked amazing. But like I said before, they really don't cover like they should what these guys are doing. Next up, Edward met the regiment, Coast Guard, and cadets at the CICG base. They showcased their operational capabilities, their resilience, their response mechanisms, and the cadets showed what they do to support their local youth. Looks like this trip is going very well. And of course, while he's there, one of Edward's things, of course, is the environment and protection of the natural world. Next up, we have Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She was at Cicely Saunders Institute in her role as the Chancellor of the University of London. She met with staff to understand how the college's research is improving people's experience of life-limiting conditions. Moving on, you'll all be happy to know that Lady Susan Hussey is back working for Princess Anne 3 months after she was forced out with that whole race row with Sister Space, where Mr. Harriman, the photographer for them, who's also Meghan's photographer, and that whole thing that happened. Yeah, thank God she's back to work. Good for you, Lady Susan. Now, you'll be happy to know that one of my subscribers sent me this. She asked to remain anonymous. She wrote a letter in, as a lot of people did, in defense of Miss Hussey, and this is the response that she got from the palace. I think that's very nice. All right, moving on. This young lady, Miss Omagomi, has worked for King Charles and Camilla for 16 years and is their most senior Black staff member. And she is Director of Community Engagement, and she joined the King at the Felix Project. She was rewarded for her service with the investiture ceremony that took place a few days ago at Windsor Castle with King Charles. Way to go. Next up, King Charles met the president of the German Bundestag as he is going to be going to Berlin next month. Now, the Bundestag is the German federal parliament, and it is the only federal representative body that is directly elected by the people of Germany. It's like the United States House of Representatives or the House of Commons in the UK. All right, next up, for those who are unaware, Queen Camilla is becoming the registered owner of Queen Elizabeth's racing horses. I'm pretty sure that was in the will before anybody complains. All right, moving on. Now, Camilla, everybody was talking about her health. You know, she got COVID and she was just trying to pace herself. And she had one of her things today. She was joined by King Charles for a reception at Clarence House. And it's the second anniversary of the Queen's Reading Room, which has now become a charity. There were authors, the literary community, and representatives of literacy charities. They were all represented there. Now, in her speech, the Queen made a passing reference to the ones that want to edit Roald Dahl, telling the authors, please remain true to your calling, unimpeded by those who may wish to curb your freedom of your expression or impose limits on your imagination. Enough said. So, of course, when she was done with her speech, it was time for the official reception. She went around talking with all of these people. I love the fact that she's standing up against people that are wanting to censor people. I love that. Now, while she was there, she met author Charlie Maxey, who brought his dog Barney to the reception. I'm guessing he got permission to do that ahead of time, even though the dog was in a bag. Very cute dog, though. You can tell from the photos, it looks like a good time was had by all. I'm sure a lot was accomplished. You know, it's when these people get together and make up a plan, you know, about how not to be censored. That's when the real magic happens. You guys get what I'm saying. There's Lucy Worley. I love her. I love her documentaries. And I love these pictures of Charles and Camilla at the end. You can tell they look so happy together. And it also looks like Camilla is well recovered from her bout of COVID. All right, moving on. In the Daily Mail today, sticking with the king, he praised the nation's wonderful army of volunteers and talked about the Queen Consort's Coronation Championship Award and talked about entering volunteers for it. Love it. Next up, let's talk about Prince William, the Prince of Wales. He went and visited Passages to officially open 2 residential buildings called the Bentley House and the Passage House. He first visited this charity with his mother when he was a young child. We all know that homelessness is one of his big things. He slept on the streets when he was younger. He helped sell that, the big magazine to raise money for that sort of thing. He spoke with some of the homeless people that were there. This is one of his passions, and good for him. I think he's doing a great job. He is the royal patron there, by the way. I think his mother would be very proud of that. Now, while Charles was doing investitures at Windsor, William was doing an investiture at Buckingham Palace. John Torode was made a member of the Order of the British Empire for services to food and charity. Love it. All right, we're getting a little off topic here. Paul Burrell, who was Diana's butler, has been accused of stealing from Diana. Now, he claims that the items that were seized were asked by him. He was asked by Diana to hang on to these items. Now, they're saying a lot of the pictures and letters that were found seem to support the idea that he was asked to store these items. There is quite an extensive list of things. They're going to have to sort through it all. Now, one of my subscribers, you can see, said that Paul is actually a very shady character. It's been said that he was not in the room when William and Harry were choosing items from their mother's estate, that he stole things from Diana, and the royal family had to threaten to sue him to get them back. Well, let's see what happens with this case. Very interesting. And the reason I say very interesting is because he has come out and said that what Harry wrote in the book about the engagement ring is a lie, that he was in the room when the items were decided upon, that Harry did take the ring, that William did take the tank watch, and Harry did give the ring to William when William decided to marry Catherine. They traded. Now, let's not forget, as I told you in a previous video, that there was some talk that Meghan wanted that ring, and Harry was talking about how the ring belonged to him. And I even said in my previous video, I'd love to see them try to take that ring off Catherine's finger, because it would never happen. So another one of my subscribers had something to say about that. Lisa Joe said, maybe Harry told Meghan in the beginning that he never had the ring, and now he's having to stick with that lie. Could be. All right, moving on. Next up, OK Magazine listed all the royal women of Windsor. Guess who did not make the cover? I can hear some plate smashing in Montecito. Whew. Moving on. All right, next up, Andrew. Basically, people are saying the United States is not a dumping ground for royals. So if you want to move somewhere, don't come here. There's a whole wide world out there that you could move to. You don't have to come here. And talking about Andrew, we're on to Fergie. She came out looking absolutely fabulous after a dinner in a place called Scott's in Mayfair. I have no idea who she was eating dinner with. Love the shoes. We've seen those before, haven't we? I have no idea who she was eating dinner with, but I do love the outfit. She was very colorful and sparkly. And right after she left, guess who came out behind her? Elizabeth Hurley with an unknown person. All right, next up, this whole thing with Harry is happening again. The Defense Secretary, Ben Wallace, came out and said, you don't brag about how many people you've killed because it's not you. It's a team effort. You work as a team when you're in the Army, and you certainly don't boast about your kill number. And they said he was way off base. He is way off base. We all know it. All right, next up, with Meghan's popularity absolutely tanked in the UK and the United States, they're saying she needs a quote-unquote win in order to try to rebrand and salvage her reputation. Personally, I don't know what she could possibly do to make anybody like her, because she's just, quite frankly, very unlikable. Now, to top it all off, they're saying that Harry, it's unforgivable that they're saying that they never claimed the family was racist, and yet Queen and Philip went to their graves with the world thinking that they were racist, that if it was true, why didn't they step up and correct that narrative during the 2 years that was happening? I mean, it only makes sense that she did say to Oprah, if that's what you think, that's probably a good assumption. Yes, they had discussions about the color of my child's skin. We knew what they were going for. They knew the narrative was out there, and they never corrected it. And now they want us to think it was a mistake. Let's not forget, Oprah said, so they were concerned that if the baby was too brown, there'd be a problem? Is that what you're saying? And Meghan said, well, I wasn't able to follow up why, but if that's your assumption, it's a pretty safe one. We all know what was going on. All right, next up, let's go back to Dr. Shouty Shola. Let's not forget she had that threatening letter sent to her. Well, whoever sent that letter, you're an idiot, because all she's done is turn this into more victimization, if you can imagine that. She's met with a journalist, and she's like, they're not going to silence me. I won't let them silence me. Blah, blah, blah. So I don't know why you bothered to send the letter. You're obviously not going to do anything, and all you've done is give her more airtime. Ugh. All right, next up, they're saying that Meghan is upset because it appears that the palace is only fighting for Harry to attend the coronation. Well, what did you expect? Nobody wants you there. Truth is, the UK people don't want Harry there either. This isn't, come on. And we know what's going on. Harry can't, he can't adjust to not being royal. Meghan, who cares? She wasn't royal. She, only through marriage. But Harry's so used to having everything handed to him on a silver platter. And now he has to work. He has to earn money. He has to pay bills. And he doesn't like it. Now, one of my subscribers pointed out that he wanted to be a royal. And truth be known, he still wanted to be a royal, but he wanted them to pay for his life. That's exactly what it is. He wanted them to pay all of his bills. Didn't work out that way. Now remember, Meghan Markle's not supposed to be online. She's not supposed to be seeing any of this. But she reached out and said that the allegations that she feels excluded from the coronation are not true. How would she know that unless she's reading the stuff online? Reports have also said that she's embarrassed by the negative reactions to the spare, and they're saying that that's not true either. She's very proud of him. Interesting. Now, whether they're going to show up for this coronation or not is still up in the air. Apparently, they're in a predicament because if they go, they're going to be ridiculed for not following through on the things they said. They're going to be hypocrites. But if they don't go, they're going to be accused of snubbing the family. Any way you look at it, they're losers. So, yeah, I say stay home. All right, here we go. We finally heard from the South Park creators. They say that they're so inundated with lawsuits and so many complaints, they can't even remember them. Unbelievable. Now, of course, Harry and Meghan said that they were going to sue. Then they said they weren't. But sources have also said that neither one of them have been able to watch the entire show because Meghan was so upset. Now, you should know that these two are the highest paid entertainers in Hollywood, according to Forbes magazine. And they did a Trapped in the Closet and Coming Out of the Closet episode about Tom Cruise and Scientology and, the Catholics. And they've done so much stuff, but they said they've been threatened so many times. They don't even worry anymore. They said they poke openly litigious people. And, they're not worried. I wouldn't be worried if I were them either. All right, now the last thing that I want to touch on are these memes. I mean, you guys, I could have done another thing of memes, but sometimes it's just hard to top perfection. But they just keep coming. But there was one meme that so caught my attention, I just sat back and said, what? Okay, and that would be this one. One of my subscribers sent this to me and said, did you happen to see on the side what it says? And they put an arrow. And no, I had not noticed that. And for those of you who can't read that because it's too small, it says First Lady Botherer, Michelle Obama. Makes you wonder what they know that we don't. All right, you guys, you know what I want. I want those fabulous comments, so leave them below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you've already hit the button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to go up into the description box and get the links for my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. For those of you who have donated through my Coffee Fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.